We're good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Record Players Review podcast. My name is Dennis, and I'm here with Jack and Huddy. And today we'll be looking at Blue Weekend, the latest album from critically acclaimed alt-rock band Wolf Alice. Does it live up to the hype, or is it for the rubbish bin? Let's discuss.
Damn. I was like, he's brought the production value up here, but no.
What?
God damn.
How dare you? Okay. Australia's worse off on the world stage by the fact this guy is on the Spotify charts, I tell you. It was going so well. I had such high hopes for you.
I'm gonna pass over to Dennis. You're an engineer.
I felt the spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if I got this off someone off the street selling this CD for like £5. How do I stop it?
This is crazy.
Sorry, did I miss that?
Yeah.
I was fully watching the YouTube live stream. That's completely my bad.
That's what nice.
The world's
It's a
most
very engaging
professional
intro.
podcast.
I understand that. It's a very captivating bit of media.
Well done, Jack. Very well done, Jack.
We're now a reaction channel, but there's no audio.
To our own stream. How deep do we go?
We're a confused channel. We just it's videos of people staring at the camera, looking all confused. So
I reckon there's a
before
niche
we
for
get
that.
into it, let's carve out a niche for ourselves. So before we get into it, remember to
Stare at the camera.
Yeah, I will stare at the camera eventually. Before we get into it, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below. We read all the comments. So yeah, talk to us. We will talk back. And yeah, let's get into it. So, bit of background: Wolf Alice. They were formed in 2010 as a two-piece. In 2012, they brought in a drummer and a bassist to become a four-piece. In 2018, they won the Mercury Prize for their second album, Visions of a Life, and they just released their third album last week, which is now #1 in the UK. So, first things first, I want to know if you guys think that these guys actually live up to the hype. Jack, what do you think?
Can I say I didn't know this about them. They formed as a two-piece, but without a drummer. So, do you know who the two original members were, or like their instruments?
Yeah, it was an acoustic duo with Ellie, the lead singer, and Joff, the guitarist. I think they've been persistent.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because you almost always expect it to be like the White Stripes, Black Keys sort of deal, where you've got a guitarist handling guitar and bass if it's recorded, and then drums. Yeah.
Guitar vocalist.
In terms of living up to the hype, I kind of went into this cold. I did no research because I just wanted to listen to how it sounded. So hearing you describe their accolades is very surprising to me. This was, especially coming off the back of St. Vincent last week, this was like boring is
let me say.
Probably the first word that came to mind when I was listening to it. It's like it's very background rock. It's very like it's describing it as alt rock, I think, is quite apt, but like a very specific subsection of alt rock, where in the 90s everything was alternative and it became a bit kind of like repetitive and mundane.
I just hate that as a term, to be honest. I mean, that's a whole video in itself.
Anything with
just
alternative,
kind of something other than what this is.
Yeah.
But what is it, you know?
I mean, some of their songs...
I would say more like, if you're going to tag it, I would say there's like dream pop, shoegaze elements I heard in this.
This is like...
If you're going to genre tag them.
I would say it's like living room rock. It's as close as rock gets to like lift jazz.
What's kitchen rock?
You know what I mean? Like, Muzak.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, a song like Feeling Myself, I wouldn't be mad if I heard that in the lift. So
it would be the greatest lift ride of your life, but in normal circumstance.
That would be the weirdest. The weirdest fucking I don't know. Do they do reviews on Apple? I was thinking of like Yelp review, but for music.
All right.
I don't know where you can do that. YouTube
on YouTube apparently.
Let me introduce you to the YouTube comment section.
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So
you go.
There definitely seems to be a discrepancy here between the critics and also actually a large portion of the public, and I don't know where that comes from, and what I hear as the reality of the like this album,
as in your the public perception, or you're talking about the fact that it's number one and has such a claim.
This album is getting critical acclaim. If you go on the YouTube section, people are like, "Oh my god, I'm going through tough times. This is such a beautiful song. This is such a beautiful album. It came out at a perfect time."
That's why we picked it, right? Because none of us really knew about them or listened to them. I presume, right? We just picked it because of the.
Is this album number
one? I knew
one?
about them.
Okay.
Is it the album that's number one?
This is our number one
in the UK.
In the UK right now.
It's I would say probably averaging around 500,000 plays per song, excluding the singles, which have obviously got a lot more. But like, I'd expect a lot more. Like the stuff we've been listening to more recently, I think has more plays than that. That's wild.
It's kicked,
that this is
Olivia Rodrigo off the top spot.
No way. No way. Our queen, Olivia.
Yeah, I know. Sour. It's kicked Sour off the top spot.
I don't think I've heard that song,
crazy, actually.
but I imagine.
So
it's not.
I'm glad you guys kind of agree with me. Sorry, Jack. I was gonna be. I honestly thought this was gonna be another King Gizzard situation where I'm not so fussed about it. You guys are lauding it, saying, "Oh my god, this is revolutionary." Yeah, well, I really thought about why so many people like this album and I don't, and I think it's because this album is sort of more lyrics heavy, and if you do sit down and read the lyrics, then they're quite deep. A lot of them are to do with like relationships, that kind of thing. They are quite deep, and they do speak to like your people's individual sort of experiences of life. I can see how it's good poetry, basically. But I don't think music should be a vehicle for poetry. I go to music for the instrumentation, and the lyrics is a part of the whole thing. Well, but with this, it seems as though the music is a vehicle for the poetry. Yeah, what do you think, Hadi?
With a band like this that treads in this style, I would say different genres have placed different weight on lyrics. With say like hip hop being at the top in terms of that's what the focus is going to be. Yeah. At least it used to be for the old heads. With a song like this, the singer, what's her name, Ellie?
Ellie, yeah.
Her voice is like an instrument to me. It's not. I mean, I'm not a lyric person anyway, but on this, like, what she's doing, at least on the slower tracks, is so like ethereal and angelic that it's kind of like there's no pretense, or there's no reliance on focusing on the lyrics. I would say, because she's just another like instrumental player.
Stuff. There's a lot of moments where I was thinking this could in a different context be something that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I thought she killed it as a singer. Yeah, especially on the bits where there were stacked harmonies, like tracks like "Lipstick in the Glass," the acousticy finger-picked one. I think "Safe from Heartbreak." Like her vocals on those were sick.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like I'm with you in certain ways. That some of the musical
what got me is because you mentioned Lipstick.
Well, songwriting wasn't that great.
Lipstick was the kind of song that, like, first time I heard it, or maybe even second time. No, I think second time I was starting to wane. But like when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is good. It's quite cool." And then by the time I'd got through a full second listen, I was thinking, like, there's not enough material in that song for it to be 4 minutes long. Same with the song before it, "Delicious Things." Like, it's got good ideas. There's not enough material in that for it to be 5 minutes long. How can I make it okay? There's not enough material for it to be 4 minutes 47. Like, I feel like they're just too far
delicious
outside of like pop song or pop rock range, and I don't like when you're a band that's not using material like guitar solos or riff breaks or just fully breaking stuff down and building it back up slowly as like over 20 seconds or something in the middle of your song. You don't need 5-minute songs. You don't need 4.5-minute songs. You can get your message out there in 3.5, 4 max. If it was that long for each song on the album, I think I have a better feeling coming out of it the other side. But as it is, it felt like a long 40 minutes. Not like super long, not like some of the stuff that we've listened to where I was like clawing my ears out by the end, but it felt longer than 40 minutes did.
See, I thought conversely, their strengths were on the tracks that were a bit slow and took time to build up. The tracks that I personally weren't so keen on were the ones where they went in like a heavier direction, so to speak, or were more like riff based. So the two that stood out was Smile, track 4, and then Play the Greatest Hits, track 7, that had more of a punky feel. But I found like when they went into that space and they were kind of more like riffy or more like like a traditional thing, I was like, your sound, your like ethereal spacey sound doesn't necessarily fit this and doesn't do much to me. When those tracks were you've just got these angelic vocals. Yeah, exactly. When they had just like the angelic vocals and it was just like a building like intensity throughout the song. Even on the tracks that were longer, I was like, this is my shit. I want more of this.
I preferred the other band.
Yeah.
If I had to listen to an album, we're going
to take the opposite things from this album.
Yeah, if I had to listen to an album that was completely like the punkier stuff, like Play the Greatest Hits, or stuff that was completely like Lipstick, I'd pick the Greatest Hits one. But I knew,
but there's so many other bands that can do that better.
But there's other bands that can do this ethereal build-up stuff better than these guys. Like they're not killing.
Agreed.
That style.
I agree. There are bands that do that style better, but that I thought that suited them better. It wasn't my favorite of that. My favorite band of all time of that sound. It was just that was where their strengths lie.
It's better executed. So something like Play the Greatest Hits, I would say Idols do that better. If you listen to Ultramono, if you listen to Grounds by Ultramono, very well, Idols are very much like this sort of like a modern punk like band. Like they do this like clean but still dirty punky sound. It's quite interesting. But yeah, other bands definitely do that better. But I will say that I actually found that the rhythm section carried the band in a few songs, like something like Smile, like the bass and the drums basically carry that. The guitars don't seem to be anywhere. And something like Delicious Things, I would say, the bass line carries the whole melody throughout the whole song, basically. So I found it really surprising that the founding members kind of took a backseat because, Ellie Rosal, I should say, because I shouldn't refer to her as Ellie as if she's my friend. Ellie Rosal is doing these ethereal vocals, but they don't have as much power to them.
On what tracks?
In general, I found that, well, I guess the style of music that they're playing isn't really trying to be powerful. It doesn't require powerful lyrics, and I do appreciate the sort of dream pop type distorted vocals that they do. But her voice isn't as powerful as, say, the distorted bass line or something, which seems to sort of sticks out a little bit easier to me. So I found it surprising that people who weren't the founding members kind of stood out to me throughout the album.
I think that can be the way with because this will be their sophomore album from what you're saying. So they'll have had their initial release, then the extra members joined. This is now their second one as a full 4-piece. So the extra members have now earned their stripes in the band, and they're matured. they won't have come into a project where maybe a few of the songs were written already. They won't feel as much out of sorts. They'll be able to volunteer more material. Like, it's not completely uncommon, but also, like, if they're still fairly new, which they will be, unless they've taken massive breaks between their albums, then, like, then maybe they're just still finding their sound as a 4-piece band.
Visions of a Life was 2017. This is 2021. So you would, it's pretty on schedule, really. Yeah. What did you actually think of the guitars? Because I thought the guitars were, there's that old joke of when they came to mix Metallica's Black Album, the Rick Rubin was just like, hey, what's that in my ear? Oh, that must be the bass. Turn it down just a little bit. It's a little bit loud. Just turn it down just a little bit. That's what it sounded like happened on this album, where the guitar was just gradually getting turned down. I almost couldn't hear it.
It's not that style of music. Like the instruments often are like producing a sound that's like different to the raw sound of the instrumentation. I don't know if that's coming across correctly, but but the instruments are used as a compositional tool in this kind of music, as opposed to I'll listen to this guitar riff, having prominence.
Like
again, I think
of a band sort of deal.
I think of a band like, they're at more of an extreme, but I think of a band like My Bloody Valentine, where they have like the guitars are just like shitloads of effects, reverb, all of this, to the point where, like, they strum a chord and it's just like a soundscape, and this is like a more muted version of that. So I wouldn't necessarily look at it as like, oh, where's the guitar, because it's just about the compositional and sonic element, as opposed to displaying the instrument. That's what I would think. Their attempt of. So I wasn't mad at that. I wasn't mad that there wasn't necessarily a guitar problem.
No, I wasn't bad at it at all. I wasn't mad at the instrumentation at all. I thought it was adequate. It's just I thought it was more of a vehicle for a more lyrics-focused album.
But really, lyrics?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are some really, really good lyrics here. Something like "Safe from Heartbreak." That's it's a song about whether or not you want to open yourself up to another relationship in the future. Kind of deep, kind of has a double meaning to it, in that "Safe from heartbreak, if never fall in love." It's like, it's almost ironic. At the same time, it's deep. You can read multiple different things out of it. It's cool.
You think this is what, like, the fan base is connecting to the most, do you?
I definitely think so.
What's propelling the album into such acclaim and
sales? When I read the comments on YouTube on some of their videos, it does sound like people saying, "I'm going through such tough times, and this is such a beautiful song." And
right.
I mean, if you want to capitalize on people, I'm not saying they did this deliberately, but if you want to make something of people going through tough times, now's the fucking time to do it, isn't it?
You got a point.
People coming out of COVID lockdowns, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, all the tough times in families at the moment, like jobs and all that. Yeah, there's fucking goldmine of melancholy out there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say just the one thing I would say on the opposite is probably part of what hindered the album for me. And this is almost calling back to your thoughts on the Bicep review, Dennis. Is what hindered to me is the melancholy aspect of this album doesn't suit the condition
snowy.
I'm in. It's blazing sun. It's a timestamp. It's blazing sun. It's hot as fuck. We're in the peak of summer now, or as good as we're going to get for the UK. And this album is just, it has that winter vibe.
Yeah.
Or like, a rainy day, almost like autumn vibe. And it's not kind of, I'm listening to it and I'm staring out and there's sun. I'm like, I need a dark cloud hanging over me.
Yeah. You want to be listening to Fresh Prince. You don't want to be listening to...
That doesn't usually have a big effect on me, like the condition or how I'm feeling with my enjoyment of the album. But I think in this, it did. It kind of feels like it was released maybe at the wrong time of the year for me.
I think it could have done with more on the side of stuff like Smile and Greatest Hits. I know you weren't a big fan, but especially like for a summer release, if you're releasing rock it needs to be stuff that you would reasonably see headlining a festival. If your band has the potential to be doing that, which it sounds like these guys do if they're critically acclaimed and getting number ones and stuff, you need to be releasing the tracks that are headline act tracks rather than a smaller tent kind of acoustic driven tracks. Although I will say I wasn't mad about the guitars on this. I just kind of wrote them off early on as they're not going to be a focal point. But when I now hear fairly obvious acoustic singer-songwriter style beginnings for them, because the tracks where it's more stripped back and he's playing an acoustic maybe or just doing some picking instead of riffing is definitely where it's stronger. Just with guitars.
That's what I said about a track like Safe from Heartbreak.
Yeah.
For example, that you said you weren't that fussed on.
Let's segue into some top threes. So my top three is Smile. I actually love Smile. I like how a lot of these songs are kind of got this ironic feel to them. And I like that. Delicious Things, love the bass line in that. And the third track, I could choose a few because there's a few there that I think it falls off a cliff after sort of those two. So Safe from Heartbreak, I could easily choose Feeling Myself.
After which two?
After my two favorites, Smile and Delicious Things. I think the quality,
as in they were a tier above pretty much the rest of the track list. Okay,
in my opinion.
Do you mean that chronologically?
No,
no. He means he liked those two tracks and everything else was.
I see. I was going to say yeah. Sorry, go on. That's me. That's me being stupid.
What about you, Jack? Nah, just those three. Top three tracks from you.
I mean, play the greatest hits
if possible.
You like the punk sound?
Yeah, I don't think they did it put badly either. It's got a lot in common with the very very early punk stuff or the 80s rock bands. I'm thinking particularly the 80s rock bands with female singers. I know it's a bit of a cop out because it's a female singer, but it obviously reminded me. It made it an easier connection to make when the 80s rock and the punk scene weren't necessarily completely different. We hadn't fully got into the hair metal stuff yet. There were a lot of bands that had similar sounds to that. Yeah, and I think they did it well. I could have done with more.
The Slits.
Yeah, would be one. Yeah, I haven't listened to that sort of stuff in ages. I've got a load of album covers in my head, but I can't remember any of the names. But I could have done with more of that on this album. I agree Smile was sick for the same reasons. Glad to see it in your list as well, Dennis, because I know Paddy's hating it. See it in his face right now. And then, No Hard Feelings. I thought it's super short. It's got all the elements of the other tracks that I liked, but I think it nailed it really strongly and didn't overstay its welcome. It had enough material for 2.5 minutes, so it was 2.5 minutes long. They didn't need to retread ground. It was good.
See, I had two things that were complete opposite from that track. One, I was like, this is too short and doesn't go anywhere. And then two, you said you liked the bass, right? That was a prominent element.
Yeah.
For me on that track.
Maybe Dennis.
Sorry, I think I was interloping what Dennis said.
Yeah.
But on that.
I didn't say that about this track, but I do like the bass on this track as well.
Okay. See, I was like, when I heard that track, I was like, it's like a picked bass, and I was like, oh man, play it with your fingers. The sound of a finger bass is so much better. Which
I would hate on the pick style.
Yeah, it's just not for me.
It was a strange choice It's a very strange choice for an acoustic, stripped back track because you get such warmth when you're playing with the fingers instead. For stuff like metal, where it's a harsher tone anyway, or even standard rock like Pix Fight or whatever. But yeah, it was a strange choice for an acoustic track.
Oh, was that? I thought it was guitar arpeggios over a bass line, a normal bass line. But no, it's probably bass arpeggios. I don't know.
Yeah, however it was played, it sounded picked. It had that percussive element to it, which rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah,
which is what I thought was in. Yeah,
I liked it because I liked how the bass followed the vocals. It followed the notes of the vocals. I really like that. I thought that was really cool. Actually, I would probably put this as my third favorite song just because of that fact.
Me and Dennis,
all right,
banded together against Hattie finally. Only took a year.
Hattie's wrong for once. All right,
I'm the other one out. Okay,
I'm not the punching bag for once. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it makes sense because I think my three are not shared with any of you. So for my top tracks, I've got, Lipstick on the Glass in particular.
That might have been the worst song on the album.
What?
That song was so boring. And it landed between Delicious Things and Smile as well.
Dude, that vocal was angelic at the beginning, man. I love that
but
shit.
What else happened in that track?
The riff is all right.
Yeah, there was a cool, eerie.
You can't argue back with like it was all right.
That's this whole album.
I would say
that's
vocals, yes. Vocals, yes, but you could say that about pretty much any track. Like the rest of I hated it.
No. Couldn't say that about Smile. Couldn't say that about Play the Greatest Hits. Vocals did nothing on that.
Yeah, but they had other
Smile
elements.
Was decent in terms of the vocals.
The other elements were stronger on those tracks.
But you're saying I could say the vocals were a prominent, important, good part about every track. I'm saying they couldn't because the vocals did nothing on Smile, Play the Greatest Hits, two tracks that you rated. But it's different. This album is different.
I would disagree. I think on Play the Greatest Hits, the vocals did hit, but even if you take those two out, that's still 9 tracks. 9 tracks on the album that are vocally led. But anyway, sorry. Go on.
I would say so.
No, that's fine. I got Safe from Heartbreak again. That the kind of acousticy one again. I was looking for the tracks that had the layered vocals that would just took me to a blissful place. And then third, dude, I can't even remember. I had my notes. I had my notes deleted like the day before, so I lost a lot of information.
Man, Apple let you down there.
Yeah. All right, I'll go with those two for now.
I'm not, to be honest, I'm not mad at that. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind Lipstick on Glass.
A track we didn't talk about that I now realise was one of my favourites. Potentially the best one. Feeling Myself. I loved. I think it was like a Mellotron that kind of led it in the beginning, and that gave me a kind of Zeppelin vibe. You know, it was one of those really slow tempo building tracks. It just had that thing that I liked from this album. But yeah, that one was a sleeper pick for me.
I remember thinking it was cool, but I don't remember it like properly standing out on repeated listens. But again, like this, that doesn't put it down that much in this album.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we put this on the board then?
Yeah.
And rate it on our patented, well, it's not quite patented yet, but it's soon to be patented tier list of Mind Blown down to Fire. Sorry, Trash.
That's your scale, Dennis. It's Mind Blown to Fire.
We love everything.
Yeah. From Goat down to Trash. So Goat, Fire, Backpack, Ribbon, down to Trash. So right off the bat, I think this is a ribbon. It's not totally in my opinion, I don't think it's totally worth a trash. It's well executed. By the way, the producer, Marcus Dravs, produced Coldplay, Viva La Vida, Mumford & Sons. He's produced Arcade Fire, The Suburbs. He's basically produced a bunch of these alt rock, shall we call it, hits back in the day. So it's no wonder it sounds good. It's well executed. This guy knows what he's doing. He's won several Grammys from, I think, probably just one for Viva La Vida. Ribbon from me, for the reasons that I said, is that I think the instrumentation is adequate. and I think this is more of a lyric-driven album, which isn't really for me personally. I come to music for the whole package rather than one thing being unbalanced. Jack, where would you place this?
Yeah, this is Ruben for me as well, especially after like DMX last week when we're saying like it's got a lot of features of the genre, but it's not what you'd want if you had like your choice of how to make an album in that style. This is the same for me with this. Like, it's got a lot of things that I recognize as this type of rock, but if I was to make an album of this type of rock, I wouldn't make this album. So I think, yeah, Ribbon sounds good for me as well.
Okay, Harry.
Are
you saying this is a backpack?
No. I'm not.
Are you debating with trash?
This no. This no. I'm not saying this is trash. Come on.
This is you look pained.
No. This is definitely not trash. It's just not for me. I'm kind of in between the Ribbon and Backpack. I mean, either way, it's going to be a Ribbon, right? General consensus. So it's a high Ribbon. It's a high Ribbon. This is
worse than Gojira. This is worse than J. Cole.
I'm looking at all the Backpack albums, and I'll probably say I'll give them a spin again over this, except that fucking Greta Van Fleet shit. But
the one that I would say that I would like debate is Drake. This is like this and Drake very, very similar in my opinion.
Yeah, but you were the most cold on that one. You were the most cold on that one. So that was your Greta for me.
I would also say, did you guys watch Eurovision just on? Now we've got back to Greta Van Fleet.
No.
Yeah, I saw it after. Like I saw the videos of the individual songs.
The winning song.
No.
Oh, was it Italy?
Yeah, super fucking 70s rock. As like,
yeah.
If Greta Van Fleet released that track on this album instead of like some of the stuff they did, it'd be a fucking banger, mate. That track was killer. It was sick.
Did you see, Jack? Did you see as well with that? They were like, people were saying that he was doing like lines of coke after their because what happens is like, I guess when they're doing the final points, everyone's sitting at table and it's him with his band, Dennis, and just imagine the most like stereotypical like crazy Italian dude. And he's like, and they're like, oh, they won. He's like, and you just see him like turn down, like literally he's like that on a table. And the dude has the craziest fucking energy, like he's so hyped, which fuels the fire. And everyone was saying like he was just doing lines of coke on Eurovision.
Rockstar till the end.
Yeah, allegedly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
nothing has been proven. Yeah. Right.
Oh, dude, we were fucking trash, man. We were probably genuinely the worst. Anyway, this isn't a Eurovision podcast.
We'll save that for another episode. Yeah.
We should do one next year.
Yeah.
Do a companion stream.
We missed a trick there.
A Eurovision tier list.
Hey, that's not bad. We've missed it this year, but next year,
yeah. It was pretty fun. I'd be down for watching it and doing something.
Yeah. So this is a consensus Ribbon from us.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably come back to this album just because of the massive amount of hype that's around it. Just get swept up in the hype,
man. People are stupid.
I was going to say one final question. Do you reckon this will be the album of the year for us that we have the most like disparate opinion to the critics and audience?
100%.
Presumably,
you don't. There's not going to be anything that will be as different on.
I think depending how DMX ages, because it's a like memorial album. Yeah, potentially this or that.
I don't think anyone was hyping DMX to be that album to be like the best thing ever, though.
No, but people will always like talk about it. Like it deserves a bit of fondness, but people will always talk about it in a relatively fond like I think, because it's got a lot of big names and it's his like goodbye album in it.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely these guys seem to be the golden children at the moment in the UK music scene in general, probably because they won that Mercury Prize 3 years ago now.
Can't believe this knocked my girl Olivia out of the top spot.
I can't believe we're talking about this and not
the
2 Grammys that Jacob Collier's won and the 2 more that he's been nominated for.
No, I haven't heard rumblings.
If the Grammys mattered.
We know your opinion, Hattie. Yeah.
When you win 2 as a charming, eccentric lad living in his music room in London,
yeah,
I'll listen.
Well, when they do a best music podcast category, then we might win some.
Okay, yeah. We're talking about sponsorship before the episode, were we?
Yeah.
Get sponsored by the Grammys.
Cool. Any final thoughts, guys? Jack?
It wasn't as bad as Biceps.
Oosh.
It was a higher tier elevator music. That's what he said.
I won't be coming back to this, regardless of any hype it gets or awards it's given.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my final thoughts is I can see its appeal, and I think it did a fair few things well, but I don't get the overwhelming hype in terms of the universal claim and it being number 1. Even from a genre style, like the fact it's selling or streaming so much, it doesn't really make sense. Something's weird there, but I don't see it. Yeah, I don't say that to completely criticize it, because if you're really into this sound, I think it's going to appeal to you. But
I think they've been saving up for the past 4 years, and they bought a load of bots to go and listen to their music.
Something's not right. Where's my tinfoil hat?
What about you, Dennis?
Another possibility is we are just out of touch with the modern music scene. Maybe we're just not getting anything because we're getting long in the tooth. Not that long in the tooth, but still.
I mean,
the rock is dead, right?
if the modern music scene is like early 2000s rock, then this must be what everyone's listening to. But I was there the first time around. I don't need it now. Do you know what I mean? I've had it. I had it when it was.
It does tread on some like kind of 80s synthy sound as well, which that's kind of in a bit of a revival. So, we're talking about modern scene, but I feel like at the moment a lot of music is kind of aping that era. So maybe that adds to it. People want that sound.
Yeah, it's come back around. Cool. Let's bring this to a close. Thank you for listening. I'm sure you disagree with what we just said, so please comment down below. Tell us how wrong you believe we are and how your opinion is objectively correct as opposed to us. So cool. Yeah, like, comment, and follow us on Twitter. We are at TRP_pod. Right. I've been Dennis. This is Jack and Hattie. Peace.